I knew that.
No, you know.
No, that he was up. Where we at today, Mr. Blaine?
Fort Monroe.
Fort Monroe?
Fort Monroe. I'm going to show.
What's significant about Fort Monroe?
This is a Civil War fort here in Hampton Roads Harbor. During the Civil War, this used to protect Hampton Roads Harbor, and right around 2011 is when they closed the base down and it became a historical national landmark, which I think it really was before that, really. And if we pan the GoPro that way, that fort over there connected to the Hampton Roads Bridge Tunnel that the GoPro probably can't pick up is called Fort Wool, also known as Fort Calhoun.
You're just full of historical.
Yeah, I know a little bit.
Historical stuff.
I know a little bit. And since David and I are both two old salty dogs over there across Hampton Roads.
Is that a submarine?
It is a submarine, a yellow submarine. I got it, I think. Barely. There's a submarine there, and the GoPro probably won't get it that well, but that's Naval Station Norfolk over there. There's a Nimitz class carrier there, amphibious assault ship, submarine in the harbor, and destroyer. But yep, that's an SSN. But I'm going to show David some history today while we talk about some stuff on our YouTube channel. A couple different things we're going to talk about today.
You have two videos today.
Two videos today, so we'll get into it here in just a minute.
All right, folks, this is Black and White Politics. Of course, you know I'm David. I'm the black guy, and it's my buddy Blaine.
I'm the white guy, can't you tell?
A handsome white guy, and we still ain't convinced him otherwise. We are at Fort Monroe. My man loves history, and this is the Old Point Comfort Lighthouse. And we're gonna walk around and show you some Fort Monroe.
Yep.
Plus, this will be one of two videos today because we're going to touch on some current topics. I hope you enjoy it. All right, confinement of Jefferson Davis. Encasement. Jefferson Davis, President of the Confederate United States, was confined May 22nd, October 2nd, 1865. You're not showing it. Still not showing it. There you go. And he was removed to Carroll Hall in the fortress where he would remain October 1865 until 1867. He was released on bail. He was never brought to trial.
So David, what were you saying earlier about Jefferson Davis and Lincoln?
Well, it was political.
Okay.
Jefferson Davis was the president of the Confederacy.
Okay.
Now that put Jefferson a target on Jefferson Davis's back. So Lincoln, being the type of person Lincoln was, Lincoln wasn't trying to kill him. Lincoln just wanted to get him out of the way.
Right.
You're putting him here in the fort. He was safe, and that way he wouldn't die.
Which probably, if he'd have died, would probably cause even more unrest.
That's
probably
right.
if they would have killed him.
It's
I understand.
all political.
Yep. See, you learned something here on Black and White Politics.
So it was built right here because of this system.
Right, because it's a strategic importance. Because if enemy forces got up into here, they could take out Annapolis area, they could take out Baltimore, they could take out Washington, D.C.
He was telling me that,
I mean, of course, you know, Jamestown, all that
remind
stuff.
folks that Fort Monroe never fell into Confederate hands.
Right, Fort Monroe never fell into Confederate hands, but right across here in Norfolk, where Naval Station Norfolk is now, whereabouts, the Confederates actually had batteries pointing out towards Fort Monroe. And now you know. Okay guys, so let's get into the video. We're doing two today, but we're going to do this one here first, and we'll do the other one as well shortly after. But welcome to our channel, Black and White Politics. Again, I'm Blaine. I'm the white guy actually, and that's David.
He don't know the intro.
The black guy actually. Yeah,
I'm the black guy. Look.
Yeah, look at him. He's chocolate.
We're in Fort Monroe.
Fort Monroe.
All this history, and
I'm learning him some stuff. But he's also. This is David's first time here, so I'm learning him some stuff, teaching him some stuff, learning. But he's also teaching me a couple things too.
So things that I found interesting is the fact that people are trying to forget history existed. Without history, you don't know where you've been to know where you need to go. And if you try to forget history and try to rewrite it, then you're doomed to repeat it.
That's correct.
And we don't want to repeat it. We want folks to be like me and him.
Yep.
Hang out, chill, then you don't give a damn about the color of somebody's skin.
That's correct.
So, this is regarding, this may be a little dark.
It's a little dark, it's all right.
This is regarding the whole, let's take the statue down, which they're going to do in
Richmond, Virginia.
In Richmond. How or why you take it down is kind of dumb to me. You say it's because he was a Confederate guy. Yeah, he was a Confederate guy. But do you know why he was a Confederate guy? He was a Confederate guy because he refused to fight against his own state.
Yep.
What you didn't know, or probably don't think about it, this man didn't have slaves. He didn't own slaves. What was you telling me, that Lincoln came to him before he went to Grant, correct?
Right, Lincoln came to him before he I think went to Grant and asked him to take over his forces. Now I do think he actually, I want to make a slight correction, no offense sir, but I do believe that later on Robert E. Lee did have slaves when they were at Arlington House, which is now Arlington National Cemetery. I think they had a few slaves, but as he was saying, see, back then, people don't remember, your home state, Virginia in my case, Alabama in his case, yeah. Oh, hold on. You gotta show.
Yeah, buddy.
You didn't, it was, hold on. I'm distracted. Wait a second.
You didn't fight against your own state.
You didn't fight against your own state.
You didn't fight against your own brother, your own statement. You stuck with what they were doing.
Yeah, yeah. And so, just for example, if you go to Alexandria, Virginia, and if you're heading towards, it's been a while since I've done it. There's a church over there George Washington used to go to, who's also step relation to Robert E. Lee, by the way. There's a statue there in Northern Virginia, and it is of a soldier who has his back turned to Washington, D.C. Because back then, if you were a Virginian, you didn't fight against Virginia. If you were from Alabama, you didn't fight against your fellow Alabamians. Now, am I saying that slavery was right and all that good stuff? Hell no.
Hell no.
Hell no.
That's some stupid shit.
Yeah, but you have to understand the context of the time that they were living in and what was going on at that time. And yeah, they were wrong because they should have known from the Bible, since a lot of people claim to be Christian, especially back then, that was wrong. From the Pharaoh story, let my people go, they should have known that was wrong, but they didn't. You know, a lot of people didn't, whatever. But what I want to talk about is my mixed feelings, and our mixed feelings, or his feelings, but my mixed feelings about the whole thing. Because on the one thing, I understand the historical significance of the Robert E. Lee statue in Richmond, but also as a black person, knowing the history of our constitutional republic, a lot about history, by the way, I love history. I also understand that it was also a symbol of great atrocity, great evil done to human beings.
Period.
Period. And my feeling on them taking the statue down is mixed because of that. I understand the significance. I understand why they felt the way they did. I support states' rights. However, the big thing, monkey wrench in that for me is you held, being the United States and the Confederacy, both held my ancestors in slavery. And that is a no-no. So you effed up.
It's quite dumb.
You effed up with that. It's quite dumb. But I think what it should do with the statue, as we look at Robert E. Lee's quarters when he was a lieutenant here, and I think what it should do with Robert E. Lee's statue is take it down, put a small little plaque in the ground just saying that it was once here, and take that and the other Confederate monuments, take those and put those inside of a museum. I think the more appropriate place for those things to be is inside of a museum.
I can agree with that.
A museum. That way the history is not lost. There's still a placard there saying that something was once there, a little small thing, so history is preserved. And one more thing people need to understand as well, although it was late in the Civil War, there were actually African-American Confederate soldiers who basically were told...
They had the promise that they would be free afterwards,
They would be
right?
free afterwards. And
But
like
we'll never know exactly how that would have turned out.
Yeah, right, exactly. And just like with the Revolutionary War, there is a missing verse of the Star-Spangled Banner. I can't remember which one it is, but it talks about, you know, basically I'm paraphrasing, no quarter or something like that for the hireling or the slave. That was in reference to the British black forces that were offered basically the same thing. They were like, hey, you know, you guys tired of being oppressed or whatever, that kind of stuff. Listen, you fight for the rural military, we'll set you free. That's part of what Francis Scott Key was saying, but that part of the national anthem we understandably do not sing today. Just so you know, please look it up. It is hard to find, but it is out there. But I think Robert Lee's statue should come down. Put a little plaque where his statue is now, a little itty bitty one for historical significance, saying this was once here and why it was removed, and that those and the other Confederate monuments should go, in my opinion, either to a museum or another fitting place that they should go is a cemetery in Richmond that I've been to, where I believe Jefferson Davis is actually buried at, and that's called Hollywood Cemetery. Cemetery, because there's also a U.S. president buried there as well. And that would also be appropriate to put maybe some of those monuments in there near where
so let's create a national we're gonna end peace. We're gonna have peace today. So let's make a huge Confederate national, I won't say monument, a museum, put everything that y'all don't want, that y'all find offensive, that y'all don't want to see out on public display, put it there, all the statues, all the, you know, and let's just make all that. And then those that want to go see it to remember history can see it.
Maybe it should probably do it. Well, maybe I don't know about, like, maybe it should do it like every state that has something. That way people don't have to travel to one place because it'd be easier to learn something. Maybe, I don't know.
Our point being is you can't forget history. When you try to forget history and try to rewrite it, a lot of these and I understand where people coming from. Folks want to try to say they want to try to rewrite history or forget history, as far as like a lot of that stuff was put up as soon as it was over, still recognizing the South, and the South was been still struggling with all the racism and crap that was going on in Jim Crow laws. I got that.
And now police brutality.
So with all that, I mean, if we're gonna move forward, let's do it sensibly. But you can't forget history, or you're doomed to repeat it. That's my only thing. Right.
And I think that both suggestions that we're giving are valid, because, I mean, think about it. In Virginia Beach, where I'm normally filming at, we have the Aviation Museum that we tried to take you guys to there not long ago, but it was closed, where they actually have German aircraft. How many of you guys watching this have Jewish heritage, or your grandparents fought against the Germans, right? Obviously, you don't want a giant swastika up in the middle of somewhere, right?
No, you really don't.
But what the owner of the aviation museum did, because the man likes airplanes, very nice man. I can't remember his name right now, but a very nice man. He made a place where we have, you know, aviation history pieces. Most of them actually fly, by the way, so that history is preserved. The same thing should be done with these Confederate monuments.
It's just,
yeah,
each state come up with their own spot.
Their own little spot.
The only thing was, I don't know what you would do with certain. You would have to take like the places from Georgia and bring them to like Stone Mountain because of the big. You ever heard of Stone Mountain?
Yeah.
And make that the central location where folks have come up with the idea they want to sandblast Stone Mountain and take it off.
Yeah.
Preserve the history as history. If you don't want to like big plaques and you think it. And here's the other thing I have to say about all this. Make sure the things that you're mad at is actually the things that you should be mad at. Because you're going to Washington and defacing these freaking monuments that have nothing to do with it was from that era, but Lincoln is the main cog in the machine, the reason people are free today. So
right, and I have my mixed feelings about Lincoln because there's some things about that he did that constitutionally speaking that are questionable. But yeah, Lincoln was obviously influential in my ancestors being set free.
But I mean, people, be smart, be smart and understand that you may not like something, especially you younger generation may not actually like something like a statue or something. Realize why it was there and come up with a better solution than to let's just torch everything and forget it happened.
Yep, because then people think even though your cause is righteous, when you do stuff like that, it basically takes people from feeling your cause to like
hating you.
To like we hate you, we don't feel your cause no more. And so you got to be very careful about that. Is there a time for violence and taking up arms?
Yes.
Of course there is, because if there wasn't, we wouldn't have had a Revolutionary War.
You wouldn't have change,
and we wouldn't have had a Civil War here in the United States. All right, and so like you said, it wouldn't have changed. But those types of things must be. If you look at history, the devastation that happened to the colonies during the Revolutionary War, and of course the British, and the devastation that happened on both sides, the North and the South during the Civil War.
We don't want that again.
We don't want that again.
No.
And if we can avoid it, yeah. But to end this video, unless you have some more ending thoughts.
No, I'm good.
This, by the way, if we didn't already mention, this is actually Robert E. Lee's quarters here at Fortress Monroe, and we're gonna take over here to the placard. They do have period costume people that go in there from time to time, and they'll open it up a little bit and let you go up in there. Every time I've been here, I've had something else going on, but I have seen them in and out of there. And I want to take you guys and also take my friend David to a couple more places in here before we end this video. But please like, comment, share, subscribe. Let us know what you think the solution is to things like the Confederate statue. But keep in mind the historical significance. Keep in mind the mindset of the people of the era in which
they were erected.
Erected. I'm not trying to justify it. I'm black, for God's sakes. Not trying to justify it.
What the hell?
But at the same time, I know,
can't decide what color he is today,
right? But at the same time, from a historical significance, I understand. And we're going to show you guys a couple more things before we end real quick. So what we're looking at right now is a giant cruise ship probably coming out of Norfolk, the Half Moon Cruise Terminal, a few miles from here over that way, around the other side of Naval Station Norfolk, looking over towards Fort Wool, aka Fort Calhoun. And what I want to show some of you guys is right there where that truck is, roughly. That is where either the first Africans, I believe it is, came to Virginia, came to the New World right here in Hampton. There were also some early Africans dropped off also in Jamestown, just that way and around the bend up the James River. And I know it's hard to see, but the Battle of the Monitor Merrimack, or the Battle of the Monitor and the Virginia,
The ironclads.
ironclads, took place roughly over that way, a couple or so miles away over that way. That is why if you're ever visiting our area here in Hampton Roads, Virginia, and you're coming across a tunnel called the Monitor Merrimack Memorial Bridge Tunnel, the first battle of the ironclads during the Civil War happened in that area. And lastly, as we showed you earlier, here at this fort, the former Confederate President Jefferson Davis
A lot of history in Virginia.
was locked up here. A lot of history in Virginia, and of course,
in this area.
of course, General Robert E. Lee, back when he was a lieutenant, at one time had almost complete control of this fort. At one time, I bet you didn't know that. Thank you for watching Black and White Politics.
Sort of a tour today.
Yeah.
Some of our some of our thoughts.
Yep.
I'm David. I'm the black guy. My buddy Blaine.
I'm the white guy with a really great tan. Can't you tell?
Be as dark as you want to be.
I know, right?
Y'all have a great day.
Have a great day.
Stay tuned for another. We'll hit you with another video in a minute that may be a lot more controversial than this.
Yeah. See ya.